Green team, the Boston Celtics need your help. They got knocked out of the NBA In-Season Tournament after losing to the Pacers 122-112. So you have to like this video to help the Boston Celtics get back on track and start that win streak again. What's going on, people? I am your host of Celtics Today, Allie Barefoot. My producer, Smitty, is right here to my right. And on today's show, unfortunately, we're going to be breaking down some possible trade rumors that the Celtics could hop on, because after watching the loss of the Pacers, Smitty and I sat down and we're like, all right, maybe the Celtics bench could use a little bit more tweaking, but we really don't want them to touch those starting six players. And we're not the only ones that think so. Some NBA insiders have actually started these rumors, including Shams. He did say, I expect the Celtics to be active in the trade market as we get closer to February. Keep in mind, that's when the NBA trade deadline is. And they're going to try and see if they can beef up their bench rotation. Now, I've definitely heard worse things before in the NBA rumor sphere, but really, outside of Hauser, I don't trust a lot of players coming off the bench. Peyton Pritchard's your easy catch-and-shoot type of point guard. Delon Wright has really started to prove themselves, but not enough. Not when you've got six of the top players in the NBA, in my opinion. And then your bench is just kind of lacking when you're missing some players like Kristaps Porzingis. Well, let's talk about Hauser, for example. This man has been on fire. He's been coming off the bench during the first TV timeout of most games. He's shooting about 7 or 8 three-point shots per game, and he's averaging 47% from the perimeter. About 10 or 11 points. I think he dropped 12 in the first half versus the Pacers, and that makes a huge difference. But when you're looking around the league, there's not a lot of guys like Hauser that you can really make a viable trade for. So you don't want to lean on the free agency market now. There's nobody out there. You're going to have to make a trade. And by you, I mean Brad Stevens. And we all know he never sleeps. I wasn't a huge fan of Jrue Holiday coming to the Celtics. Wasn't sure how it was going to work. Chef's kiss. I've loved Jrue Holiday and KP. So what else could Brad Stevens possibly cook up? Well, we're going to break that down. A potential cheat code here is that the Celtics do currently have $6.2 million in their trade player exception from Grant Williams' deal. They could use it to acquire somebody like Otto Porter Jr., or they could potentially flip it into another deal. That's a little nugget the Celtics have that not every team out there does. Whether or not Brad Stevens is going to use this, well, that's up to Brad Stevens. That's why he gets paid the big bucks, and I do not. But what I do get paid for is that Smitty and I sat down and were like, all right, let's take a look at some of these trade targets that would actually make sense for Brad Stevens or the Celtics to make. Number one, we've said it before, and we're going to say it again, Alex Caruso. The Bulls are ready to trade their assets away. Can we afford $40 million, Zach LaVine? No, sir. Could we afford Alex Caruso? Yeah, probably. But like I said, you're going to have to give up to get some things. You want to keep beating that Caruso drum because, like I said, he is the perfect player to come off the bench. He really gives me Sam Hauser kind of vibes. We saw him play against the Celtics when the Celtics destroyed them the other night to make it into the in-season playoff game. But Alex Caruso, about 10 points per game. That'd be great coming off the bench for the Celtics. Another 10-point shooter would be astounding. And then 54% from the field, he's really reliable, which, like I said, the only person I really trust right now is Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser. And then 47% from the three-point line. You could always use another three-point shooter here on the Celtics. He's what Peyton Pritchard isn't. Reliable. Hey, look, I've had my fair share of love and hate with Peyton Pritchard. Preseason P, I was on that train. But coming in, he hasn't been shooting lights out like we really need him to. He lit up against the Pacers in the first time they played him this season, and he's lit up in other games like the Charlotte Hornets, but that's 2 games out of 20. I think Alex Caruso could be that good fit that we could really see coming in and being reliable. But we've got 4 more people we want to talk about throughout this video. But first and foremost, you guys got to hear about Factor Meals. It's our sponsor here on Celtics Today. It's an amazing, fresh, never frozen meal service that you guys need to be a part of. You can go ahead and get started right now. Go to factormeals.com/NBA Chat50. Use promo code NBA Chat50 to get 50% off. Well, what does this meal actually include? Well, you got 35 different options that you can choose from. Like for me, I got a picky eater. I have a tough tummy, so being able to choose what fits me and my healthy lifestyle, and the fact that these meals are dietitian approved and they're prepared by professional chefs, they're literally delivered right to your door. Takes less than 2 minutes. Heat it up and enjoy a good meal. That makes my life so much easier, and I want to help make your life that much easier. Just go to factorymeals.com, use promo code NBAChat50 to get 50% off. Once again, factorymeals.com/NBAChat50. Use promo code NBAChat50 to get 50% off. All right, the second player we're going to talk about, he also plays for the Chicago Bulls, because why not take advantage of a team that wants to rebuild? Andre Drummond. We have also beat this Drummond a few times already this season because he is the perfect fit for a backup center. That's what he's doing right now for the Bulls. Now, when you take a look at these numbers, they're not going to pop out at your face. But what if I told you this is through 13 to about 15 minutes per game? Sound a little better? Yeah, that's what I thought so. Almost 6 points per game. The rebounds. Holy cow, could the rebounds help the Celtics? Jayson Tatum is leading the team in rebounds right now. Not KP, not Al Horford. You put Andre Drummond in there when you take Kristaps Porzingis out of the game to get a breather? I would love to see him clean the glass. I think Andre Drummond could be that answer. Because guess what? It ain't Luke Cornett. I know I have been more of a hater than most, but Luke Cornett gives me a reason to prove that he is not a viable championship backup center. You go play for the Hornets. You go play for the Knicks. You give me somebody that I'm not worried about. I like Andre Drummond. But overall, it's up to Brad Stevens. And I want to hear from you guys first. Should the Celtics trade for Andre Drummond? Type T for trade, type P for pass. I'm going trade. If we don't have to give up too much, then I'm going to go for trade. I think Andre Drummond would be great, but go on ahead and type it down below. Going off that, Delon Wright. Well, he currently is injured, but he's expected to return in the next few weeks. But this guy is going to help you on offense. I do like Delon Wright a lot. I think that he'll be sidelined just for a few more weeks. But hey, everybody's got some injuries. KP's injured right now. But I think when you can add another offensive player, it's going to make a big difference. When you look at his stats, he's got 7.4 points per game. A little bit lower than 2 years ago, but that's all right. 47 and 35 from the three-point line, and about 4 assists per game. Like I said, he's been dealing with a little bit of injuries the last few years, so this is where you kind of want him to really come off the bench. He would never be a starter. He's not going to be the top 6, but it's enough to be like, all right, I'm going to have faith in you to put some points on the board. Now, Javon Carter, he's another player from the Bulls. Poor Chicago Bulls, man. We're just ripping their team apart at this point, but if they can help us win Banner 18, then I am all for it. Javon Carter, he's going to be more of your defense guy. He can really get in, starts to bring that on-ball defense, locking down that perimeter. He's not afraid to get down in the paint, which, as we can see, Hauser's been good. Hauser did a good job of standing tall to Tyrese Halliburton in the Pacers game to knock them out of the NBA In-Season Tournament. But after Hauser, Delano Banton, he's good at rebounding, and Peyton Pritchard is good at ball handling. So really, we need that on-ball, in-your-face, shot contester type of defender. So Celtics fans know that Carter can also play offense if needed. Now look, if we can get a dual-threat player, I'm all for it. But if he is excellent on defense and not bad at getting buckets too, well then that's music to my ears. Brad Stevens, can I write you a letter? Is that the best way to reach you? Because I like him a lot. And our fifth and final person we think the Celtics should possibly trade for is Reggie Bullock. This is your classic textbook 3-and-D type of player that's not being utilized right now for the Rockets. I think Bullock, if you can stick him right there in that corner and make sure that he is going to be open when you need him, make another outlet pass for Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown when they drive into the paint and get stopped, why not? I think it's a better option than Svi Mykhailiuk, who we have not seen in light years play, along with O'Shea Brissett. Brissett's been around the league a few times, and so is Bullock, but I think Bullock is just slightly better than these two players and could play a nice 3rd or 4th player to come off the bench. Overall, we do hear about whether or not Bullock was actually going to be in a Celtics uniform. There were a lot of teams that were interested in him. Bucks, Heat, Celtics, Clippers, Pelicans. And this is all before he signed with Houston, so he's definitely a name you want to watch. When you look at his past 4 seasons, he looks a lot like Javon Carter in the sense that 7-8 points per game. He definitely has the capability to do this. And then he's got nice 3-point attempts as well, 5.1 3-point attempts. That's pretty well for Reggie Bullock. And 3.6 rebounds per game. I mean, hey, it's got to be a lot higher than Luke Cornett's, so I'm all for it at this point. I like a 3-and-D type of player, especially when he can do it effectively. In my opinion, you go with Caruso. I've been saying this since day one. I think Caruso fits that mold of the Celtics the best, just in terms of he gives me Sam Hauser vibes, and I think he could really complement the shooting style the Celtics do have. But if you're going to give up too many assets for him, then maybe Carter and Bullock are the 2 players you should go for. Javon Carter gave the Celtics a tough time the other night playing them when the Celtics and the Bulls did go head-to-head. But overall, Brad Stevens, we're going to wait on you in February. Name a player you think the Celtics should trade for down below. There's a lot of good players out there, some on the chopping block right now. So if we did miss a player, well, it's your turn. Go on ahead and put it down in the comments below. And if you guys did enjoy this video, you know Smitty and I are out here working day in and day out, bringing you the most up-to-date information the Celtics fans could possibly ever have. And we like to party with you guys, too. Go on ahead and hit that like button for me and show us some love.